SOP number 121. Hey, I'm reading Me. A new podcast for Dave. Yes, another one. Stereo Junkies and a last 5 and 5 on today's School of Podcasting's morning announcements.
It's the School of Podcasting's morning announcements. Here's Dave Jackson.
Welcome back to the School of Podcasting's morning announcements. I'm your personal podcast coach, Dave Jackson. This is where we talk about all things podcasting. Our website is schoolofpodcasting.com. If you're ready to start your own podcast or take your podcast to the next level, check us out, schoolofpodcasting.com. You can email me at dave@schoolofpodcasting.com, or you can call in your comments, 888-563-3228. Well, I moved to a new room at my house. We talked about this on the last show, and I've done a couple things. Number one, I got the second microphone arm, these things that you can like clamp to your desk, and instead of having a mic stand on your desk or next to your desk, which in my case did nothing but give the cords, the mic cords, were all tangled up in it. My iPod cords were all tangled up in it. So now I have this arm that I have bolted to my bookcase next to me, and it allows me to position my arm wherever I want. And I said I bought a $29 version of this arm off of eBay, which is much cheaper than the $100 that they want to charge you in, say, a Guitar Center or, all the different places online you can buy. But I had another one that was coming that was, I believe, $39. And I've got that one, and I got to tell you, now this one comes with 3 different bases. Now, on one hand, I don't really care because I'm using the clamp, which came with the $29 one. But I got to tell you this, that number one, the one for $29 did eventually work. What I had to do was just really, really, really tighten the screws, because my microphone was just, my microphone and the key point here, my pop filter were just a little too heavy for it, so it was constantly slouching. Well, I got this new one. It has 3 bases. One has the C-clamp, which is the one I'm using, and if I wanted to, I could actually bolt it permanently with screws to my desk, screw this little base into it, and then they have another base that stands about a foot tall. And those are very nice. I'm not using those, but very handy. Both the units came with a cord built into it, which I've done. And I got to tell you that just get right out of the box, when I put my microphone on it, I really had to still kind of pull the microphone down. Like the spring was too strong to even keep it in, not so much keep it in place, it was keeping it in place, but it didn't move. Where the other one, as soon as I put the microphone on, I was like, okay, I got to tighten a couple things up. And then when I put the pop filter on, again, still didn't really move a whole lot. What's weird is they look identical. Almost, I mean, the springs look like, these might be obviously a little stronger springs. But, so if you're looking for that, I'll put the links out in the show notes again. I definitely like this second arm a little better. Now, with that said, had I not ordered this second arm, by accident, by the way, the first arm was working fine. So, depending on, the only thing I had to do with that first arm was the fact that I had to really, really, really tighten the screws. And I kind of had the feeling I was pushing that arm to the limit. So, there you go. But for an extra $3 or extra $10 US, I'm liking this arm better, and I'll probably be giving away the first arm to one of the members of the School of Podcasting's, or the member of the School of Podcasting. So there you go. That's my review of the second microphone arm. And if you just go out to eBay, type in microphone arm, you'll see this is the one with the 3 bases. The other one just has 1. This one is, I think, $39. The other one was $29. But in moving to other rooms, I ran into, again, some more noise issues. So we'll talk about that in just a second. Hi, this is Dave Jackson, your personal podcast coach. Thanks for stopping by theschoolpodcasting.com. I've created some great videos that will walk you step by step through the entire podcasting process. Now, I know we all learn in different styles and different paces, and that's why each week you can talk to me live. We have a weekly question and answer session where podcasters from all over the globe come to trade our podcasting secrets and our experiences. They say if you ask a book a question, you won't get an answer, and it's nice to have a human to count on. And you can count on me to keep you on track and to get you going in the right direction. And I know what you might be thinking. You looked around, you said, look, Dave, I don't know if you realize this, but your price is way too low. What's the catch? The catch is easy. I don't advertise. My members promote my site for me. And without that expensive advertising bill, I can keep my price low. It's that simple. Secondly, I've been teaching people technology for over 15 years, all the way back to how to surf the internet. I'm not kidding. I love to teach, and I'd rather do it in volume. So read down the page. There are tons of bonuses for signing up, and you can try it for 30 days. If you don't like it, I will refund every single penny. That's how much I know you're going to love the tutorials, the resources, and the personal podcast coaching service here at theschoolofpodcasting.com. Click on the sign up button, and I'll see you on the inside. Stop on by. I said I don't advertise, but I guess I just did. Oops. Hey, I moved into this new room, and I have for whatever reason, my Dell 4550, I think it is. It's probably 5 or 6 years old. And while most fans make the noise of shh, this one makes this noise. And let me play you a little bit. And so I'll play a little before and after. So what I've done is in the last roundtable we had, and this is kind of somewhat common knowledge if you do some research on the internet, some people are taking milk crates, plastic milk crates. You go to Walmart, you buy bed padding for, in my case, it was $8. Because I got a twin size, because I didn't need that much. And if you think about it, a milk crate has 6 sides. You put this foam on 5, so everything except the front. You put your microphone in the middle, and it kind of isolates the microphone. Well, now that I've got this microphone on a movable arm, that wouldn't work for me. So what I did was I went and bought some padding, and when I moved my computer from the front of from the floor of under my desk to the filing cabinet, which is right next to my desk. Well, the bad news is it's closer to my microphone. So while I had gotten rid of fighting the noise of the furnace, which was in my previous room, I now had the issue of the noise of my computer. And this is what it sounded like. And this is what you're going to hear is the noise before with no foam, and then you'll hear like a click, and then the noise with the foam. So you can see where it did reduce the noise. Now, right now, I am using a noise gate. So when I stop talking, see, I didn't turn it up loud enough. It cuts it out. Now, the other thing to think about is right now I'm listening in headphones, and the volume in my headphones is actually pretty loud. So it seems like that noise is really, really annoying to me. Keep in mind, take your podcast and give it to somebody who's not a podcaster and say, listen to this. And then I can almost guarantee, because I was talking to my brother about this, and I said, do you hear my computer? He's standing in the room, and he's like, what are you talking about? And I said, and I closed the door, and he goes, oh, that little noise, yeah. And I said, yeah, it's I can hear it in my headphones. And he's like, well, so what? He goes, are you going to tell me you can't hear your voice over that? I'm like, yeah, but maybe it's annoying to the listener. And he's like, So then I played him an old podcast. He goes, no, I'm listening to what you're saying. I'm focusing on the words. I'm not focusing. He goes, you're too much of an audiophile. And sometimes we do that. We go way overboard. We got to put our mind or try to put on the ears of the listener. And again, if you've got great content, you can overcome a little fan noise. Now, if you really want to go, overboard, I'm going to record Mary Had a Little Lamb here. I'm going to turn off my noise gate. I'm going to leave the foam on, and I'm going to do Mary Had a Little Lamb. And then with the fan noise, I'm going to take that same exact file and run it through a program called SoundSoap. Now, what you do with SoundSoap is you can record 5 seconds of your noise, run it through SoundSoap, and it will come up with a special kind of graphic equalizer. I'm not sure exactly what's going on behind it, but it basically takes dictation. It writes down, oh, here is the frequency of the noise, and then you can take your file and run it through SoundSoap, and it will pull those frequencies out of your podcast and hence take out the noise. So let's do before now. I've done this once before, way back, probably episode number 30 something, but in case you don't want to go back and download all the old shows, we'll do this again with the new noise. Before I was taking out the furnace noise, now I'm taking out the fan noise. Here's before and after. Mary had a little lamb. Its fleece was white as snow, and everywhere that Mary went, the lamb was sure to go. It followed her to school one day. That was against the rules. And I don't remember how the rest of this verse goes. Mary had a little lamb. Its fleece was white as snow. And everywhere that Mary went, the lamb was sure to go. It followed her to school one day. That was against the rules. And I don't remember how the rest of this verse goes. Something at school. Man, it's been a while since I've played with Mary. All right, so there you go. And of course, you could always have a noise gate and then run that through. So you could, again, keep in mind, I think I'm just being over clinical. It could be. So don't go too crazy on that. Be sure to get the comments from an actual listener. Just a listener. Not a podcaster. Just go ask Cousin Earl. Hey, listen to this. Tell me what you think. Hey, we haven't had one of these for a while. This is from my good buddy Fred Castaneda from... Well, he's going to tell you from. It's a last 5 and 5. Now, what's the last 5 and 5? I'm always looking for these. And he actually sent this to me via a service called box.net. If you're looking to send large files to people, it's a really cool service. It's $7 a month and a very cool thing. And what it is, the idea is, hey, what were the last 5 podcasts you listened to? And if you can tell me in less than 5 minutes, that would be beneficial. So here is Fred.
Dave, this is Fred Castaneda speaking, podcaster for The Struggling Entrepreneur at www.strugglingentrepreneur.com. Also, Gain Control of Your Day, gaincontrolofyourday.com, and Arriba, Folklorico Music and Dance of Mexico. Dave, I just wanted to let you know that I'm recovering from a back injury, so I've had good news and bad news. The good news is a lot of time to catch up on my podcasts because I've literally been flat on my back. People may say I'm lying down on the job. But I got a chance to listen to and catch up to my podcasts, and I wanted to give my last 5 and 5. Number 5, Tech 5. Yes, that's the John C. Dvorak series of podcasts, a daily one that talks about the world of high tech, listening about the Apple announcements at Macworld and everything else. Number 4, InfoWorld Daily, Tom Sullivan's podcast where he gives the world of high tech and gives the information of what's going on there. Number 3, Weekly Web Tools. Can you believe it? Your podcast. Number 2, the School of Podcasting's morning announcements. And number 1, believe it or not, Logical Weight Loss. Yes, I've been listening to yours as well. So Paul Colligan and Alex Mandozian's Marketing Online Live, and those podcasts have kind of slipped off my top 5. And those are the last 5 and 5 I've been listening to. So wanted to let you know. Thank you very much. Keep up the good work. I'm still surprised how you can do so many podcasts in such little time. Enjoy yours a lot. Thanks a lot, Dave. Keep it up.
Thank you very much, Fred, and I really, really hope you get your back in shape. I am with you on that. I throw out my back about twice a year. It's not a lot of fun. But on his show, Struggling Entrepreneur, by the way, Struggling Entrepreneur, boy, that word just gives me fits. StrugglingEntrepreneur.com. He interviewed the podcast Junkie. You can find her at podcastjunkie.co.uk. And she wrote to me and said, hey, first of all, a continual many thanks, as always, for your great podcast. Hey, thank you for listening. I really do appreciate that. I just listened to your Cyber Clutter episode, and recently I ran across the site, which has a couple of or so features on minimalistic designs, which you might find interesting. I have nothing to do with these sites, but I'm subscribed to the blog and thought you might find them useful. And it's vandelaydesign.com. And then a really long website. So I'll put links to this out in our show notes. Of course, our show notes are at shownotes.musicianscooler.com. And if you're not familiar with the podcast, let's go back to Fred. And here's a little bit of his interview with the podcast Junkie, introducing her, because you got to check out her site. It's an interesting thing that she does.
This is an interview with Megan Evans. She has a podcast called podcastjunkie.com, spelled with a Y, podcastjunkie.com. She happens to be an evangelist for good podcast episodes from different podcast series. Not the entire series, but just spotting the really good episode that would drive somebody to say, wow, I'm glad I really listened to that. I'm glad, and guess what? I should subscribe.
And what I should probably point out here is it does get a little confusing. There is the Podcast Junkie UK, and that's the person that sent me the link. And then there's podcastjunkie.com, which is the person that Fred is talking about, and I believe they both kind of do the same thing. The one I mentioned, podcastjunkie.co.uk, in their signature here, it says news, views, tips, and reviews of podcasts, podcasting gadgets for your MP3 player, and a bit more besides. So there's a UK version and a US version, and it sounds like they're both kind of doing the same thing. How cool is that? I should probably mention here, because right now the price is still $10 per year over at podcastclicks.com. That's the podcast promotion system that brought over 27,000 clicks to podcasters in its first 2 years. And that will be going up to $20 a year, which is still actually a bargain compared to Google AdSense. And that'll be going up on March 1st. So if you haven't signed up, go over to podcastclicks.com. And of course, members of the School of Podcasting get to use a year free. Check it out, podcastclicks.com. All right, and yet, Fred talked about having so many podcasts going. I'm going to have one go on autopilot, and I realize I've never used FeedBurner's statistics. So I need a podcast that will help me measure the statistics from FeedBurner, so I can compare them to Libsyn, compare them to Podshow, and all the other ones that I use. So are you ready? Are you looking for some exposure? Send me a link to your podcast promo to podcastpromoshow at gmail.com, and your podcast may appear on the, you guessed it, Podcast Promo Show. So if you're looking for a new way to find out about podcasts, now, if you go there right now, as of 3:44 on Sunday afternoon, it doesn't exist. But the Podcast Promo Show, courtesy of podcastclicks.com, soon coming to the internet, but I'm going to need some content, so send a link. Don't send me your promo. Send me a link to your promo to podcastpromoshow at gmail.com. One other tip I need to throw in here as we slowly head towards the door. I was doing some research about what happens if you need to change your feed in iTunes, and I completely forgot I had done a podcast about this, and I found the answer for the question. And the interesting thing was, it was my blog, except it wasn't my blog. It was somebody that had taken my blog and put it on their blog. So you will see now a couple things for my show notes. Number one, I usually put the show number on the first line, because if I think about this, if somebody looks for something in Google and they see, 121, microphone arm review or whatever I'm going to name this title, they're like, 121, what's that? So I usually put the number down there. That's just my own personal preference. But the other thing I also do is I'm going to start putting, this show originates at schoolofpodcasting.com, because that wasn't on. Again, think about this. All they're getting are my show notes. They're taking the RSS and somehow putting it on their blog. Okay, and this is fairly common. So consequently, there's a couple things you can do. Number one, put a link to your website, because if everybody's slurping your RSS and putting it on their website, at least you're going to get a link back to your website from their website. Now, granted, being that their website is kind of a black hat kind of website, I don't know how good that's going to help you in the Google search, but a link back is a link back, and so that's something you might want to start doing. I was really surprised when I looked up and I went, wait a minute, this is me I'm reading. So you might want to start putting a link back to your website at your website. Now, I know that sounds weird, but realize that your website may be seen other places that aren't your website, and if somebody actually listened to that and went, wow, this is good information, A, that's why you always list your website in your podcast, but B, you might want to put a link back in the show notes to your website. I'm going to do it. Doesn't mean you have to, but it's something to think about. Hey, I realized I was talking about Sound Soap earlier. I didn't give you any information about that. Bias is the company that makes that. It's about $80. I'm looking at Amazon.com. It's for Windows and Macintosh both, so it's not super expensive, but by no means is it cheap. So if you're wondering about that software, and really that's going to do it for this edition of the School of Podcasting's Morning Announcements. I am your personal podcast coach, Dave Jackson. You can find our website at schoolofpodcasting.com. You can email me, dave@schoolofpodcasting.com, or you can use the podcastvoicemail.com hotline at 888-563-3228, courtesy of podcastvoicemail.com. And, I want to thank Fred from strugglingentrepreneur.com, gaincontrolofyourday.com, both the Podcast Junkies, podcastjunkie.com and podcastjunkie.co.uk. Everything we talked about you can find at shownotes.schoolofpodcasting.com. And I hope to see you out at the schoolofpodcasting.com very soon. And until we meet again next week, class dismissed.